Okay, welcome. If we could just go around the panelists here and do a quick introduction. I'm Jody Campo, and I'm the project manager on the Cadenza Practice App community project. And I'm happy to be here today to share with you my experience with the Media Annotator.
Why don't I jump in? I'm Rena Eupitis, and I was one of the original founders of Cadenza, and also I was involved in the research that supports the way that we structured Cadenza about helping us structure in ways that enhance learning for students and make lives easier and perhaps more productive for teachers.
And hi, I'm Claire Miller. I'm the research assistant for the Cadenza project, and I'm also a piano teacher myself. So I'm using Cadenza with my studio as a new what's the word? Not project, because it's it's already part of my repertoire, my studio, and but yeah. So I'm here to talk about my experience as a new teacher and also as a new person working.
Great, thank you, Claire and Rena. So I'm going to start this morning by just doing a very few quick demos with the Media Annotator feature, so you can see some different ways that it can be used. Then Claire will share her experience, and as a fairly new teacher coming in and using the app, and that should be helpful to any other new users out there. And then we also have a video from our wonderful Hannah O'Toole, who's based in the UK and part of the Curious Piano teaching team. So I'm really excited to share her experience with you as well. Okay, so I'm going to start by sharing my screen. There we go. And of course, everything's buried now. All right, so one of the ways that I use Cadenza is to share videos that I personally have made for my students as an ear training exercise, so that I don't have to create something for every single student who's working at the same level on their ear training components in preparation for an exam. So this is an example of a group that I've made of all of my level 5 students, and I've uploaded videos of each of the things that they need to work on and shared it with all of them. Here we have some intervals coming up.
Hi guys, I'm
Jody,
going to do
can I
some
ask you-
recordings of intervals so that you can name them and practice for.
Sorry.
I was just going to ask if you used the group share feature when you shared this with all of your level 5 students.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So it was a group lesson. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
For exams that are coming up, okay? So this first video is all about intervals. Look in the description area for tips and tricks about intervals, okay? Here we go. So press New Annotation and name that interval for me.
Ooh, me.
Major third, major third.
Okay guys, here comes the next category, which is chord.
I just gave a little snip of that. And then of course we have chord progressions and clapbacks done in the same way. And in the description area, I can give them instructions and little hints about how to name depending on what works best for each of the students. I can assign more students if I want to here. And one of the greatest parts of that video is that once I've made those videos, they're in my video library, in my media library here, and I don't have to remake them for the following year. Okay, so close that one down. So that's one way that I use it. Another way that I have used it really recently is for a student preparing for their level 9 exam. And so, sorry, that's not going to expand, I guess. This was to help her prepare submitting a full video of all 6 pieces, which was that's really challenging for those advanced students who are doing that. So this is how we got the job done. Every few days she would send me a little video. So you can see here how my comments are popping up to her. So she's sent me the video and I'm watching it and I'm giving her reinforcement through here. And then she receives those comments on her end when she watches it from her view. I apologize for the sound. It's something about Zoom. Maybe it's Zoom on Zoom is the problem. It doesn't actually sound this bad, the sound itself. So this is how I add a comment. So I click on New Annotation and type in what I'd like to say. I can choose how many seconds. If it happens to be a long comment, I can actually change this to 10 seconds if I'd like it to be up there that long. This is an example of how I can reply to a previous comment. And the student can also reply to my comments from their end. And yes, one of my comments was wear a shoe for pedaling. I don't need anyone telling me she should have a shoe. And that was an example where I may decide I want to delete a comment. Maybe it wasn't the right timing or whatever. It is possible to delete. And again, I apologize for the sound. It's very shrill. So that's, and I have to say the student just improved exponentially. Every time she sent me one of these, I was able to really drill down. At this point, of course, students have their music memorized. So referring to specific measures isn't really as effective if you try to write out an email, right? It's too hard to be that specific. And here I can say right there, that's the moment that you might want to try something different. And finally here, I'd like to show you what it looks like from the student view. You'll notice the color is different in the student view as well. Here we go. Okay, we're going to look at the Media Annotator from the student's point of view. You'll notice the colors are different in the student view. I repeated myself. But the action is still the same. You still tap the plus sign and then directly take a video. And if you turn it around, there you'll see me. I can record whatever I like on there, press stop, and then either retake the video or use the video. There it goes, it's uploading, and that's it. The student can save the practice. Okay, so those are the videos that I wanted to share with you just as a quick little demo of different ways that I've used it. Of of course, there's several other examples, and you're welcome to ask me questions as we go through the webinar to explain or expand on that. So now I'm going to
We
turn
did
it
have a
over to
question there
Claire.
actually,
Oh, sure.
Jodie,
Mhm.
in the chat there. Thank you, Lynn. So she asked, when students put their answers in for the theory, for the ear training exercise, because of the group setting of the exercise, do other students get to see somebody else's answer?
No, they don't. It's their own individual answer. Yeah, I
Okay,
tested that out myself before I started implementing that because I knew some of them would be quite self-conscious about others seeing their answer.
okay. And then Beth has asked, if the student puts the video in attachments rather than in the annotator, how can you use the annotator to give your response?
You would have to upload it. So you would have to download the attachment they sent you and then upload it yourself into the Media Annotator. It's best if the student, and I have to say it's a much quicker upload as well if you record your video directly into the annotator. It's a faster upload and less chances of glitching. I would also like to warn people that if you do an airdrop or transfer the video in any way, it won't be recognized by the Media Annotator. You sometimes hear audio, but you'll have a black screen. So it's best to get the video directly into the Media Annotator.
Okay, and Lynn is, yeah, and parents can also send
That's right.
audio as well, which is great. And you can upload videos and audio files to the Media Annotator.
That's correct, yes. And Gail has mentioned the notify teacher checkbox. How do students get notified of a teacher comment or feedback? I actually just tell my students that they need to go and check their video for comments to get them to be encouraged to come in and do that on their own as part of the self-regulation. There isn't currently a notification for the comment, although that's something that we're considering putting in so that they know to go there. But I encourage them personally. I hope that helps. And you can feel free to keep adding questions to the comment area for sure. I also see there's one in the Q&A. Does the Media Annotator only work with MP4s or can other formats be used? MP4 or .mov. So actually some of my videos were MP4s and some of them were .mov that I just showed as an example. But as I said, it's just, they shouldn't be transferred from one device to another and then try to upload. Okay. Can a student respond by text to your comments in the annotator? It is a text box. I'm not sure if, Anton, if you wouldn't mind clarifying your question. I'm not sure that I fully understand. And then I'll try to get you the answer. Is there any way to make an audio only attachment? Yes, you can do audio only. Yeah. I think you've addressed this while I was typing, but I have more advanced students submit videos a few days before the lesson and I make annotations. They often don't check the annotations before the lesson. Just seconding the feedback that a notification for the student to check annotations would be helpful. Yes, yeah, we are hearing that more and more, which is actually a great sign that more and more people are using it and it's being effective. Okay, well, I think we'll move on to Claire, and Claire is going to just go through and share her experience. First of all, Claire, would you like to give us just a little bit of background, and then you can go right into highlighting some experiences that you've had.
Sure. Okay, so I've thought of three main ways that I've been using the Media Annotator. I have a couple of different hats with my studio as a piano teacher and also as a collaborative pianist. So I've been trying to find ways to use the Media Annotator in the work that I do as a collaborative pianist at Queen's University as well, and with students in the local area. And throughout COVID, as I'm sure you know, for many of you, we've had to reinvent the way we do business. And so providing collaborative services for students not in person has been challenging. And I've been making a lot of recordings. And some of them want recordings with video, and some of them want recordings with just audio, but all of them want to have the flexibility of the nuance that they would provide while playing the music with me in person. So I'm trying to find a way to provide that in a recorded format. And I found actually that the Media Annotator is super helpful, because the student can send me a video of themselves playing their piece, and I can then take that and lay it against the recording that I've made as a template recording, and then I can use the files together to craft my recording to what the student wants for their nuance. So I'm just going to show you a little picture here of one student that's been doing that. Her name is Marie. She's a violinist. And she's working on the Vitali Chacon, which is a really amazing piece of music. I don't know if anybody knows it. I'm just going to share my screen here. Okay, is that working?
Yes.
Okay, so actually here's Marie. Here's a photo of her. And now I'm gonna show you Marie and I playing together when we were still allowed to in person. And we made this recording together with her doing the nuance that she wanted. So there's just a little clip of Marie playing and with me accompanying her, and then I would transfer that video into my my Audacity program here, and then I would take the master that I've made. Sorry, you're seeing all my.
We can't actually see your screen, Claire.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah.
Hold on a sec. Did you see the video of Marie there playing?
We only saw the picture. We didn't see the playing.
Oh, okay. Here we go. I'm going to do that again then. Is that better?
Now we see it.
Okay. Okay, so this is. So Marie is a very expressive player, and we love working together. We have a super fun, as you heard us laughing there. So now what I would do is I would take that video and I would put it into my Audacity program where I make my master tracks, and then I'd lay it against my my template of the recording, the accompaniment only that I've made, and try to match them up. So that's actually been super helpful. And I know it's not in the regular context of piano teaching one-on-one, but I really, you know, I really try to learn from all the experiences that I have in the different facets of my life to bring them to this program, because I just think the applications are endless, not just in one-on-one teaching field, but in many of the other things that I do. Yeah, so that's one aspect. And now let's go to one of my students. So I have a lot of adult students who I don't see very regularly, and they like to learn a lot of music between the times that we see each other, and then send me recordings, and this has proved an absolutely invaluable way for us to communicate between lessons. So Sean is one of my my mature students, and she's advanced, and she's playing the Kabalevsky Youth Concerto. It's a piece that her son learned and she wanted to learn as well. And she was so excited to find out about the Media Annotator that she immediately sat down and played the whole concerto for me. and I immediately was so excited to hear her recording that I spent a considerable amount of time annotating it for her, and by doing so, we both learned so much about the applicability of that tool for our relationship in particular. So that is actually the recording that I made for her to play along with. So I made her an orchestral recording of the accompaniment, so that she could get the full picture of the concerto, because counting was a bit of an issue without the orchestra there, which is, you may find as an issue if you have people learning concertos and not able to play with anyone at the time. So that's the backing track that I made for her, and I uploaded it as an MP3 to her task. And then she sent me, let's have a look. So this is what she sent me, but it's not actually what I don't have a recording yet of her playing together with the recording. So that's next for us, and we're really looking forward to this. So this is the original that she sent me, and you can see here the many annotations that I offered during this first hearing. And as somebody mentioned in the chat there, it can be sometimes hard to catch the moment and put the comment that you want in. If you were in an in-person lesson, you would generally probably wait to listen to the whole piece, or at least a good chunk of the piece, so the student feels their flow before making feedback or a comment. But with the Media Annotator in this context, I really find that right away you've got to just hover over the pause button and snatch the moment there to make your comment. Otherwise you're backtracking a little bit all the time. So that's one thing I've found useful. So I'm just going to play you a little section of this. Just going to snap into, okay, so there's comments about accuracy, counting. Just providing our own accompaniment there. Okay, and then if we just skip to the end of the recording there, we can actually see everything that has been offered through the course of the annotation, which is a really useful way to check in on what you've offered in terms of feedback. And also, as Jodie pointed out, you can go in and edit any comments that, if you made a typo or something that you felt could be rephrased in a better way, this is a good opportunity to check in with that and make sure that you've given the feedback that you want to. And by doing this, I've actually given lessons asynchronously, just using the Media Annotator, which I find with students that I don't see as regularly, and students that are very self-motivated with the learning, and the progress is significant. Between the time chunks, it's absolutely essential. And I don't know what I ever did without it before, although I guess we haven't lived in these times before. But so yeah, that has a real applicability to asynchronous learning. Yeah, and then for other students, it can be used in real time as well. So I have a student, Emma. Just going to go visit Emma now. And Emma has been working on Fleur de Lis, sorry, Fleur de Lis, wrong country. and she was having some challenges with the ornaments in that favorite section. You know the one I mean. So rather than trying to talk her through it rhythmically, she's a very oral learner. So, you know, some of these students are visual learners, others are oral. She's an oral learner. So I created a few different ways of hearing the ornament section at a slow tempo that she can practice and mimic, because I find that she likes to copy and to mimic, and so the tempo is important there. And then pulling it apart just at hands separately here. So this is me playing, and I provided this to my student. And here it comes. And then the next one. 2. Yeah. So just breaking it down into some nuts and bolts in a way that I know that she will relate to and understand. And then we see the progress, and then she would send me back a recording of her playing that as well. And then we discuss and move on. So, I mean, that's 3 levels of applicability that I have found particularly relevant to me. So the asynchronous learning and the synchronous learning, and also an application outside of the one-on-one teacher student environment that many of you may be used to, and just in the work that I do outside of my piano teaching life. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
There have been lots of questions that I was answering there throughout your presentation, Claire. Thank you. That's excellent. And I'm really interested. Over the past few weeks, I've been really thinking about this asynchronous idea. It's become a catchphrase in education as we've moved to online learning, of course. And I'm really interested in exploring that option in private lessons. You know, why not?
Yeah, and you know, something I've really found working with post-secondary students, both as a collaborative pianist and as a teacher, is that none of them understand the full value of recording themselves, or you know, and I think Chris pertained to this in his webinar, and it's just such an essential tool, and also. With the collaborative side of things, I find that I'm offering so much coaching at the same time as the pianistic service that I'm providing, often from a different perspective that their teacher has already given. But if they don't record the lesson, you know, they come to the next rehearsal and things aren't retained or reinforced in the way that they could have been if they would just have clicked, you know, record, and you can do that, you know, on so many platforms. But using the Media Annotator, they can then go back in and revisit our time together and make notes on the things that they need to provide a checklist of the things that need fixing. And that's a very tangible, useful checklist that, you know, depending on how the student learns, I think is an amazing tool that is hard to in another way, you know.
Agreed.
Claire, I just want to pick up on your point about the importance of recording. You know, pre-Media Annotator, pre-pandemic, pre-everything. I remember as a teenager, the first time my piano teacher asked me to record, and this was on 8 tracks. You have to remember how old I am. I didn't sound like anything like I did in my head. And of course, I realized how important it was and passed that on to my own students. For those of you who are interested, Emily McPherson, who is one of our teachers as well, has done a nice little video on our YouTube channel that talks about the value of recording and when she uses audio and when she uses video. Because sometimes the video gets in the way of an audio recording and vice versa. And for different pedagogical reasons, you might choose one over the other. So I think it's pretty quick. It's like a 3-minute video. It's probably worth taking a look if the ideas about recording are something you want to explore further.
Awesome. Is that available on YouTube, Rena? Or
it's on our YouTube channel, on the Cadenza YouTube channel. Yeah. And it's called when to use recordings or something like that. Jody, maybe after the webinar, we can add that link, or if I can find it while the webinar continues, I'll put it in the chat.
That's great. Thank you. I also described to my students that I remember recording onto cassette. And then we had a gap of time where everything was CD, and unless you had a small recording device, which wasn't a really common item to have around the household, there was really no way to record yourself. At one time, there was a time frame where even the CDs didn't come with the cassette anymore that you could record onto. So yeah, it's invaluable, and the students are developing in such a great way, just blossoming through that.
Just a note there about the quality, though. I mean, we've all noticed that the Zoom quality itself is not the best, and so recording directly into the Media Annotator may not give the quality that you're listening for, depending on what the purpose of the recording is. So to get around that, I actually used my phone to make it the recording, and I find that it's super quality. And then I share the recording to my Google Drive and then upload it into Cadenza. So it's a few more steps, but I find there that the quality and the nuance can be really superior depending on what you need it for.
And I find if I record directly right from my iPad without needing to save it or anything, just right in as I showed in the example, it's excellent sound. Excellent. Ruth is mentioning Clean Feed for Zoom lessons to improve their sound. I have not used that, and I'd be interested to know more about it, Ruth. If you want to throw some information in the chat about that, that would be great. I'm sure everyone would be interested. In one of our previous webinars, the sound quality was described as sticking your head underwater and having someone start a chainsaw. So, yeah, I think we're all done with that low sound quality. So now I'm going to share with you the interview that I did with Hannah on Friday. She's just a wonderful person, excellent pedagogue, and I'm really excited to share the interview with you. So I'll just get that up now. Okay, hello. Welcome, Hannah. This is Hannah O'Toole, who's joining us today to discuss her use of Cadenza and specifically her use of the Media Annotator with her studio. Welcome, Hannah.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. I wonder if you could just start by telling us a little bit about yourself.
So, my name is Hannah O'Toole. I have been teaching music since 2008. Initially, I trained as a classroom music teacher at secondary and primary level in the UK. I'm based in the Cotswolds, and I have a studio of about 40 pupils. But when I say it's a studio, I'm teaching mostly in a school setting. So across 2 different schools. I do have a couple of private students as well. So at the moment, it's a mixture of online and socially distanced lessons with all the COVID precautions in place.
Oh, that's great. Yes, here in Ontario, we're back in lockdown again. So, yeah, oh, that's great that you're able to do the hybrid style lessons as well. I know how you came across Cadenza, but I wonder if you could share with our listeners how you came across Cadenza.
Absolutely. I first met Dr. Rina Eupatis in Ireland in 2017. She was on a visit with my colleague and the co-director of the Curious Piano Teachers, Sharon Mark-Taggart, and we were having a gorgeous day at Powers Court, which is this beautiful stately home in Ireland with lots of tea and cake, and I met Rina then. She was talking about Cadenza back in 2017. So I first heard about it, and then obviously through being a member of the Curious Piano Teachers and subsequently community manager, which is my role now.
That's great. And we love our partnership with the Curious Piano Teachers. We have a lot of users out there from the Curious Piano Teaching Group, which you can find by Googling them or go right to their website. And what is the URL for the website, Hannah?
So we are thecuriouspianoteachers.org, and currently we have a free month as well that people can try out our membership.
I highly recommend it. That's great. So you heard about it in 2017. How long have you actually used Cadenza? When did you decide to incorporate it, and what was your process getting started?
Well, it's really interesting because I'd been looking at starting to use Cadenza with my students before the COVID-19 pandemic hit. But as soon as that happened, I became a member of Cadenza. I joined Cadenza around about March 2020 when I saw that it was going to be essential for taking my studio and my teaching online. It's honestly been, I don't know if I could have done this year without it. Because it's just meant that everything is in one place. The students can see what their tasks are very, very clearly. I love the ability to screen share it in lessons on Zoom, just so that they're really clear about what they're doing and they can see the tasks and they can have ownership over it as well. They can have ownership over the tasks in the lesson. You can say to them, do we think this is finished? Do you want to keep this task in? And they get some choice over it as well. So yeah, I found it really helpful. And I also think it's been really helpful to be able to look back over the past year and see the progress that's been made by the pupils. So just going back, preparing for this interview and having a look at some of the recordings from earlier back and thinking, wow, I can see the progress. It's really exciting. Just have that record is really nice.
Oh, that's great, and it's actually, I think, great to have the students do that as well. That's part of their reflection, is like looking in the mirror and growing. We never actually see it, right? So it's a great thing to look back. That's great. And I think that in the typical studio of students using Cadenza, not every student totally buys in. I'm wondering how many of your students are using it, or maybe all of your students are.
I'm using it for all of them, and so I haven't actually gone back to paper notebooks at the moment because I find that it's so much more interactive and it allows me to do things like post my own video clips of things that I want to show them. For example, this week I've been working on improvising with the whole tone scale with the pupil, and I've just done a video at home on the overhead camera just so that she can see what notes to use and how to do it. So I use it for my own purposes, really, like that, and so I've stuck with it. Yeah. So I love the fact that it's really interactive, that I can use different media and I can send different media home, explanatory videos. And so in terms of it, how many of my students are using it regularly, I would say there's a good number of students who are using it regularly. And I think the important thing to say is that the ones that do really see the progress, the ones that are heavily engaged and recording their practices and engaging with me in the comments, they are the ones who are seeing the progress. The most progress, actually.
With no surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have an expectation, actually, in that I check Cadenza every Sunday evening. That's my planning routine for my week. So I like to sit down on a Sunday evening and plan my teaching for the week. And my students know that I do this. And there's always that option for them to upload a video by, I say, 6 o'clock on Sunday evening. If they want me to look at something specific. They don't have to, but they can. And it's really quite fun to see what they do send me sometimes. So I often leave a space for their own compositions, their own improvisations as well. And I've really just been delighted to see what they've produced, actually, sometimes when I haven't expected it. So, and then also if they're working on something particular that yes, we are working towards an exam, or we're preparing a recital and we're comparing takes, then there is more of an expectation that they must upload something. But they know that that's when I do it, and they know, and it's always there for them to be able to do it, and it's helpful for all
Wonderful
of us,
routine. Mm-hmm. I think that's a wonderful segue into sharing some of your examples with us. So Hannah has prepared some little videos to show how she's used the Media Annotator with different age groups. So I'll just hand it over to you.
Sure, I'll have a look. So the first clip that I would like to share is my student Emily, who loves to compose her own pieces. So Emily is 7 now. I think she's aged 6 to 7. So if I can just share this. Hopefully that's coming through okay.
Yes.
Okay, so this is just some comments that I've put on a recent composition that Emily's produced.
This is a lemur sitting in a tree, having lots of fun in the brightest sun.
So that's Emily's song about a lemur. She absolutely adores lemurs, and we're learning from Piano Safari as well. So I think she's the score that she's produced here really looks just like a page from her method book. So I think it's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it.
So that's Emily, and it's nice to be able to give her some feedback and some encouragement actually when she's produced something like that. Look what I've made, and it's just so beautiful. So
You can see it in the smile. Yeah.
absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah. And then I've got a slightly older student, Sydney, who also loves composing. And this is from last summer, so probably June. And we were exploring. She loves to write her own songs, and she decided that she would send me one. And I think this is the thing with Cadenza. I always leave a purple composing task there. Even if we don't explicitly do composing that lesson, it's always there. So they've got somewhere that they know it's okay for them to upload their own material. So here is Sydney with one of her songs.
Hello, Mrs. O'Toole. I'm going to be playing another song that I've made up. And I've got it all written down in my book here. I'm not quite done with it yet, but I'm thinking of loads of things that I can add on to it. But I hope you like it, and here it is so far. Hope you liked it. Bye.
So great.
So that was a lot of fun. It's so fun to receive that. And I think the thing that I like about the Media Annotator is that it allowed me to give her specific praise and for her to match my technical words with the moment in the music that it happens. So she's learning. So I say, oh, this is a really catchy riff, and you moved octave. I think I possibly mistimed the comment slightly in the video, but the fact that she's got the vocabulary at the moment in the music that she's doing something interesting, and I'm giving her the language to explain it. I think it is such a useful tool. So
That was great.
yeah, so that's Sydney. And then with two of my more advanced students who are preparing for UK grade 8, I have also used Cadenza extensively to help them with their recitals. For this particular exam, they have to perform 4 pieces in a continuous take. So actually Cadenza has been really good training. It's almost like training for a marathon, because we start off, record the first one, record the 2 together, record the 3 in a row, and then record the 4 in a row. And then, you know, in terms of helping me choose between the best take and you know, and advising them, it's good. So
I find
Yeah.
the students, when
So
they have to do the continuous take, they don't anticipate how difficult that is. I mean, that is really, really,
it's
really a
really
chore.
tough.
With the Royal Conservatory, I had a grade 9 student just go through. They actually have to do all 6 pieces in one take, and it's a lot. So it was
It
invaluable to
is.
us too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think being able to pinpoint certain bars and give them um, a focused list for practice, that's where it's come into its own, I think. So I'll just share a little bit, not all of this. And this is from a little while ago now. So this is James working towards UK grade 8. So, okay, so hopefully you can see that. And I think that's him in the early days of learning this piece, and it's probably important to say that he's now passed that exam with flying colours, and that is quite a long way. If he were to watch that back now, I think he'd be amazed at how far he's come. So I think just pinpointing things has been so useful in that process. But as I use the Media Annotator, I'm still thinking about ways in which I can be more curious as a teacher in how I present comments. So having this conversation with some of our curious piano teachers this morning in our community about how they're using the comments to give feedback, effective feedback to their pupils. So we know that as teachers, our students learn so much more when we don't tell them. And this has been a journey for me with Cadenza, and I've been much better at it in face-to-face lessons and in the live situation, but then translating that into giving written feedback as well. So we were having an interesting discussion about how to do that and how to keep fostering that in our written feedback this morning as well. So asking open questions on Cadenza, and colleagues saying, I think it was Sharon that said, there's an issue in bar 8, you need to go back and watch it and find the issue, so encouraging the students to find it for themselves and to self-reflect. And there's another clip I have, but which I'm not going to share today, but the student self-reflected on her take for the grade. I asked her to put her comments in, and she was able to go back, and it was simple enough for her to use to put her own feedback on the take that she'd recorded.
That's excellent. And I noticed that in your comments you were asking questions, and that's time for the student to take that moment of reflection. And I know that's how Cadenza has changed my teaching as well, just adding that piece in. That's fantastic. Do you have any specific examples of a student where Cadenza, or maybe it's more than one student, it's made the difference?
I mean, I think with lockdown, it's made a huge difference. And I think with multiple students, the students certainly that have engaged with it, I think during the various lockdowns in the UK, just having that structure of their week, they've had the piano lesson with me, and that's been the structure that hasn't changed. And also they all had fixed times during lockdown as well, every week, which they wouldn't always have in school. So it's creating a bit of a structure of a week for them. So I think that's made a huge difference for them. And also knowing that I would like something by Sunday has given them something to work for and something to show me. I had another lovely student who I don't know if anyone's seen the Lego grand piano that you can build. There's this fantastic model of a grand piano, and I really want one, but she had one. She had one, and she used Cadenza to show me the progress of the build during lockdown, and to show me the finished thing, and she actually introduced it and did a little video. And I think they're learning so much more than just playing the piano. They're actually learning how to present themselves and how to share something that they're really interested in. So that was unexpected, but just really a fun thing that popped up in the Media Annotator as well. So it's brilliant.
Oh, I love it. I love hearing the different stories and how teachers and students are communicating on new and different and improved levels. I think it's wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Just that I'm just so glad to have been able to use it, and the fact that I'm actually going to continue using it even though I'm now back in a socially distanced setting, because I can see the potential for continuing to have these kind of dialogues, and it's a place to put recordings, it's a place to record the journey that is so much more than a notebook, and it's more interactive. They're able to write in it, they're able to have records of what they've done, and so am I as a teacher, actually. And it also helps with my planning a great deal, just to have everything in one place and to be able to think, okay, so we've moved away from that piece for a while because you needed to during lockdown, because you needed something different. But I can still go back through the lessons and go, okay, that's where we were. That's the concept we were last looking at, and I can go back and easily find it. So yeah, I think it's brilliant. It's a great tool. So.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. As I said, I always love hearing these different experiences and having a little window into how other teachers are using Cadenza, managing their students, and engaging in wonderful pedagogy. So congratulations to you, and thank you so much for sharing with us today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I hope everyone really enjoyed listening to Hannah. She had some wonderful ideas in there, and I thoroughly enjoyed interviewing her. I would be happy to check out the questions. I couldn't do it while the video was playing there. I know there were some chats popping up, and I personally was checking my phone to see if my new grandbaby has arrived, but he's not here yet. So no baby yet, but I'd be happy to take questions, and Rena and Claire, I'm sure, would be happy to help answer them as well.
We have a question from Anton. Are video files on the Media Annotator being stored on your computer?
So no, they're being stored within Cadenza. So it's not taking up any space on your device or your laptop.
Jody, can I just interrupt?
Please.
Part of what you're paying for with the subscription is storage for all of your students' videos and audios. So we pay, out of the subscription fees, we pay a hosting fee to our developer.
Exactly. Anyone else? You can even raise your hand if you like, and I can bring you on to ask your question live.
Lynn has mentioned it would be nice to be able sometimes to download a video on the Media Annotator.
There probably is a way that you can do it. However, I haven't explored it a whole lot because I want that to be the students. I want the student to own the video and
I
not
have
take
explored that a
ownership
little
of
bit.
it. Mm-hmm.
Just by using and if I want something off YouTube, for instance, I would use I think I use Y-3 to download YouTube videos into MP4, and then I can do what I like with them. And that's just a free app off the internet.
I really love doing these webinars because it's such a lively exchange of ideas and open conversation between teachers helping teachers, and I'm happy that Cadenza can be the vehicle to open that discussion. I wondered if anyone else had thoughts on asynchronous learning or lesson planning. I would love to hear them. I'm considering doing something with theory through the summer and having a group join, but have the lessons pre-recorded, uploading them into the annotator and sharing them that way. And then the students can watch or study at their own time instead of a time blocked within the week. Well, it's something to think about.
Sounds like a
Definitely.
great idea, Jodie.
Oh, I see some more questions here. Finds uploading. Sophia is saying, my student using an iPad finds uploading to be taking a long time. I just wonder what the resolution video that the direct recording option uses on iPads versus iPhones, as some of my students don't have iPhones. I'm sorry, I can't answer that. I know some days for me, it uploads super fast, and other days it will take a long time, and it's simply my upload speeds, which are always much lower than your download speed. They could explore different ways. I find the fastest way through all of my different ways of trying it out is on the iPad and going directly, not a pre-recorded video, but going directly from the Media Annotator and having it access my camera. So unfortunately, I don't have the techie answer to the size of the files. I know you can compress files as well in a way, so I'm just not that techie in advance to be able to tell you exactly how to do it easily. That last comment is useful to know that videos are stored on Cadenza, as my students are from a music service hub and aren't allowed to send me videos for that reason, so they don't go on teachers' computers. Yes, yeah, it's safety of the student is important there, and privacy. Thank you, Julie. Oh, there, Anton has added, I use software for this called Media Human, which is YouTube to MP3. Yep, that's a way to get video into audio. Great. Well, Claire, do you have any final words that you would like to say to everyone?
No, I don't think so, other than this has been a really exceptional learning and sharing experience. Thanks everyone for coming, and we continue to think of ways that this amazing tool can be used outside of the box, and yeah, keep letting us know your experiences.
Rena, do you have any final words for us?
I want to say how overwhelmed I am by the diversity of ways that people use the Media Annotator. I popped that into the chat a little while ago. I mean, ways that none of us ever imagined when we were developing the tool. So kudos to all of you. And that was a really, really informative webinar. Thank you, Jodie, for making it happen.
You're welcome. On my 3 hours sketchy sleep. And I don't drink caffeine anymore, but anyway, we made it work. So thank you for joining us today, everyone. I hope that you learned lots and you can go back and start implementing it into your teaching. Thanks and have a great day.
Thanks, Jodie.